Hello and happy Flip It Friday. Welcome to Arrival Coaching's Flip It Friday. I am Beth Myers, a Law of Attraction empowerment coach, mentor, and speaker. And we are here this week to hashtag create with flow. So join the weekly conversation to flip our perspective on topics, music lyrics, roles that we play in life, and help us raise our vibration with our emotional guidance system, our EGS, to be real, which I term as Real Empowerment Allows Love. This week, we delve further into this month's focus to hashtag create by exploring how to navigate with flow and accept what is. So I see that Kim has joined in. Hey, Kim. And Kathy, so glad that you are joining in today. Kim, I am so glad you and Cassie are watching today. Thanks so much. And hey, Cassie, nice to have you here today too. So let's take a look at the inspiration that I have for you from this week's song from The Greatest Showman again. If you notice, this week and this month actually has been focusing on the songs from The Greatest Showman. I just love that movie. It is a great law of attraction movie, and the music is phenomenal. So we're going to delve into Come Alive for today. And hey, Leslie, I am so glad to see that you are here. Looks like Kim O'Neill, I think you've got a thumbs up there. So say hello if you are joining us today. I can't see on Facebook over there who else is there. But thank you so much for joining in live if you are here with us in real time. And if you are watching the replay, I welcome your comments, your connections, and say hello, please. I always love to see who's getting to join in on the conversation. So Betty, so glad you are here. Oh, I am so excited. So Come Alive. Some of the lyrics of that song starts with, but you can flip the switch and brighten your darkest day. It reminds us that we have choice. We always have choice, how we decide we want to move through our day. And the sun is up and colors blinding. Take the world and redefine it. Leave behind your narrow mind. You'll never be the same. Come alive, come alive. And I just love this song for what it brings to us about reminding us about living each and every day and embracing the beauty and change and difference. You know, one of the things that it reminds me of with creating with flow is it begins with accepting what life has to bring us. You know, look at nature. Does nature resist the season or the changes that happen because of the seasonal change? You know, living in Maryland, we are lucky because we get to see really full seasons shift and change from fall to winter to spring to summer. And it just flows with varied temperatures, the signs of the leaves dropping from the trees, or the snowflakes coming down, or the rain pouring down to grow the flowers. And then, like we have right now, all the helicopters coming off of the trees, the seed pods for the trees, as they bloom into their full leaves to shade us during the summertime. So what we do to prepare for the next season, you know, nature doesn't resist that. It just flows. Well, we can do that with our thoughts instead of contracting when there's change or when there's something different that we experience with someone in our life or somebody we just meet for the first time. From the things that bring us contrast, things that we don't really like that are showing up in our life. We can shift that just like nature does and respond with openness and saying or thinking this statement. Isn't it interesting? I had lunch with some friends yesterday, and we've all gone through the Quantum Success Coaching Academy at different times, and we've met and we live near each other. So we got together for lunch yesterday, and we were talking about how our perspective has shifted as we've embraced the 7 universal laws that Christy Whitman teaches through that program, and that whole reframing our language to say when something comes up, isn't that interesting? And it was so funny because we all were saying it at different points in time as we were talking about things that were happening in our lives. And isn't that such a more playful and natural way to respond to when something happens in our life? Isn't that interesting? So let's play with that a little bit. Part of creating with flow is refraining from judgment and learning to allow and flow. It's based on the law of allowing. And part of our human nature and society is steeped in judgment. And if you watch the movie The Greatest Showman, there are example after example after example of different judgment. And when we're judging others or when we're judging ourselves, we're not in that state of allowing others to be who they are, allowing ourselves to be who we are, allowing others to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes, hopefully, and for us to learn from our mistakes. They're just a learning opportunity. Allowing each person to be on their own journey to discover what is the best path for them. Allowing others their own opinions, and you are allowed to have yours, and find that contrast and that clarity that comes from when we experience things that are different. This can be one of the most challenging of the universal laws, the law of allowing or creating with flow. But every day we can make progress. So here's 3 questions that you can ask yourself to expand your flow as you create. Was that a judgment I just made or that I just thought? And when you experience that, instead of being like, oh, this is like this and it's terrible, it's horrible, it's no good, it's very bad, and you can see in my body that constriction that happens. So instead, to approach it with openness. Interesting. Was that a judgment that I just made? I just called that person an idiot driving. Was that a judgment I just made on that person? Was that a judgment I'm making on myself? Interesting. So that's one way to approach, probably like nature does. Interesting. It's snowing and the sun is shining. The next thing is asking questions. Asking yourself, what questions do I need to ask myself to flip my perspective on this thought or this judgment? Asking myself the questions that I need to ask to flip my perspective about this thought or this judgment. We've already lightened it up by saying, interesting. You're noticing that you maybe are making a judgment. So being able to ask yourself, could this be a learning opportunity for this person that is experiencing this? Is this something that they need to go through as a learning opportunity for themselves? What if it's not true? Or what if I don't have all the information to really be making a judgment? What can I do to be kind to this person? What can I do to be kind to myself? So being able to ask these types of questions can really help flip around that perspective to one of compassion, to one of more lightness, instead of a harsh judgment on someone or something. We don't have to be the rescuer. We don't have to be the persecutor. And we don't have to be the victim. We get to choose to step outside of that drama triangle if we choose to. So another question that we can ask ourselves is, what did I just learn? And what did I enjoy about this experience? Or what did I learn from this experience? Being able to ask ourselves these questions takes our mind out of the judgment mode and puts it into curiosity mode. We become less in judgment and more in learning, being a student of the universe to learn and grow from. So shifting is really one of those things we can do with asking the question, what did I just learn? What did I enjoy about this experience? Please let me know if you have other questions that you help yourself to be in more of that allowing mode. What do you say to yourselves? What is a connection or a comment that you make inside of your mind to help with that allowing and that expanding into what is? Because that's really what allowing is all about. It starts with us trying new things, meeting new people, maybe playing with that word, that question, isn't this interesting? Because when you do that, it's like the lyrics of the song Come Alive. I see it in your eyes. You believe that lie. So right there's the judgment. We get steeped in that judgment. We're stuck there sometimes because, we're believing, we're buying into something that may not be true. And then it's being able to say, like it says in the lyrics, that you believe that lie, that you need to hide your face, afraid to step outside. So you lock the door, you don't stay that way. We lock ourselves into that fear mode, that false evidence appearing real. But we don't have to stay that way, as the song says. No more living in those shadows. You and me, we know how that goes. Because once you see it, oh, you'll never be the same. It's like when we learn something new. We're never the same as we were before when we learn something new, or we help to shift our perspective, to see all of the possibilities, to see all of the beautiful differences. As the song says, we'll be the light that's shining. Bottle up and keep on trying. You can prove there's more to you. You cannot be afraid. Come alive. Come alive. And I see some of you saying some questions. Leslie, thank you so much for saying one of the questions you ask yourself, is that really true? Yeah. Are you really an idiot? No, you're not. No. Do we make mistakes? Yes. Yes, we do. But it's being able to question ourselves, to ask those questions. Kim is saying right here, I remind myself that nature is not judgmental. And that's a beautiful thing to remind ourselves. Nature isn't judgmental. Nature just is. It's following the ebbs and flow of what is occurring that's generated for the universe at that particular place, that particular time, and how the nature is unfolding. Leslie, I'm so glad that you're loving today's message. Thank you so much. So let's take a look at what we can do to be more like the nature, be like the water that flows over, around, under the rocks in the stream or the river. Your intention that you set to hashtag create and expand with flow is just like that. Not being stopped by the blockage of that rock that might be in the way, or the judgment of something, and we term it as being wrong. Look for what you can learn from this experience, this person. How can you grow from your connection with them or your one-time experience with this person? This can be, again, a huge challenge because many of us want to rush in and rescue. We want to rush in or persecute someone because there's something within us that we're persecuting as well. Or we feel in that victim role of, there's nothing else I can do. I'll be like this forever. It's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad. But we can work with these challenges. We can ask these questions, and we can set that intention with an affirmation each and every day to say, I am open with what is. I can go with the flow, be open to new people and new experiences. Think about that. Sit with that intention. Sit with that affirmation. I am open to accept what is, go with the flow, and be open to new people and new experiences. So I want to leave you this week with create with flow. What's something that you're desiring to create? Play with me for a minute. Type that in the chat. Please, if you're watching the replay, type in, what is something you want to create with flow? What is that intention that you are setting for your day to day, for your weekend, moving into the weekend? Maybe it's for next week. How do you want to create with flow? I would love to know what it is that you're wanting to create and be able to support that vision with you to see that occurring. You know, my creation of what I want to do is create with flow this weekend, being able to enjoy the music that I want to hear this weekend, and kids stepping into imagination and creating with the play, The Lion King. I want to be able to experience flow with nature and moving into the camping season. Betty is saying, I love Kimberly's comment about nature and as not judgmental. Yeah, Betty, I know you love nature and being in nature. And just as we observe that non-judgmentalness in nature, it is what it is. You know, a cat, when it sees a string, it is out there. It is trying to get it, to discover what is it. Kids with bubbles, when you blow bubbles, you see that wonder and that joy and that like, wow, isn't that interesting? Being able to look at that and embrace that as something joyful and new to experience. When we can look at nature and do the same thing and then take that cue from nature in our own life, well, there we go. We are creating with flow. So I'd love to see your comments and for you to share with me what you're going to create with flow this weekend or in the upcoming weeks. I want to remind you that just as music is energy and vibration, so are we. Embrace your power to create with flow. And until next week, where we'll have another song from The Greatest Showman to end out the month of May. Actually, it's beginning June, actually. So it might be a little bit different. We'll see. I'll create with some flow and come up with that. But until next week, be well, be true, and be you. And much love to each of you. Take good care.